In past videos, I've mentioned that the decimal expansion of pi holds the blueprint to reality, but thus far I've only really shown the first few digits. In this video, we're going to jump ahead to the 1111th place in pi to show you a section of pi that seems to be resonating. There seems to be a coherent chunk of information in this place that has to do with the nature of number itself. And one of the key concepts that's sticking out here is the distinction between the finite multitude and the infinite multitude. So the finite multitude are things like integers, because they're not one, so they're not singular, they're a multitude, but they're bounded, they're finite. Threeness is a clear, distinct object. Now, there's something called the infinite multitude, which would be like the decimal expansion, or an infinite series, or abstract things like all of the even numbers. There's an infinite number of even numbers. So you have these two different types of multitude, and when you combine all of the finite multitudes plus all of the infinite multitudes, this still equals 1. It's the holos. So we see a parallel to this in this object called the Mandelbrot set. So I'm sure some of you will be familiar with this. You run a function through all of the numbers, and the result of this function will either end up inside of the Mandelbrot set, or it will spiral out into infinity. So the numbers that are inside of the Mandelbrot set, this is the finite multitude, and the ones outside of the Mandelbrot set are the infinite multitude. The third element in the Mandelbrot set is the boundary. So there's a boundary between the finite multitude and the infinite multitude. So we're going to connect this to the ancient Hebrew idea of water. So water and the multitude are intimately connected. The word sea in Hebrew is pluralization. You put this word at the end of a word, and it's like the S in English. It makes it multiple. So the word mayim has this pluralization at the end because water is always multiplicitous. There's no such thing as a water. Water is a solvent. It dissolves. It seems to be endless. It's a great representation of the multitude. And in Genesis 1:7, it says that there is a division between the waters above and the waters below. So what are these two different types of waters? I think it could be the finite multitude versus the infinite multitude. And this boundary that's placed between them is called the rakia, or the firmament. And I think that is descriptive of this boundary. So you see these two ideas back to back in pi, because 1.506 is the area of the Mandelbrot set, and 95 is the value of the waters, hamayim. I've mentioned gematria in past videos. 40 plus 40 plus 10 plus 5 is 95. And here we see two waters next to each other. So I'm linking these concepts philosophically, but they're linked in pi. Taking it one step farther, this number here, 4541, is the value of Genesis 1:7, the verse that says that the waters above were separated from the waters below. Now we're talking about a huge number that is connected intimately. It's interesting because this is right at the 1111th place. So if the places in pi are of any significance, there's clearly some kind of anomalous thing happening with 1111. There's all the numbers that came before and all the numbers that come after. There's almost like a boundary here. This is a reflection of the beginning of pi, because this is what you see here. You see the finite multitude then a boundary, and then the infinite multitude. Okay? So the fact that something is starting over here, look at 4, 2, 4, 5. 4, 2, 4, 5 is 3 times 1, 4, 1, 5. Right? This is pi echoing. Another crazy mathematical anomaly here is 2, 4, 5, 4 is Genesis 1, 1 through 1, 7. The first 7 verses of the Bible, if you add them up and divide them by 7, so you get their average value, it's 2, 4, 5, 4. There is deep resonance here. And another thing to keep in mind is that these are all the first occurrences, right? It's like the first time this number shows up, it shows up to the next to the first time this number shows up. So it's not like I'm picking and choosing. This is how pi is representing itself. And there is so much more here. I had to really parse this down for this video. So in this one section of pi, there are a ton more ideas, and you see this kind of depth at many other locations in pi. It's just all over the place, and I'm excited to really harness the power of computational intelligence to decode this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm grateful you're here. I'm excited to put out more videos. Until next time, shalom.